Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's season 1, episode 1, Delilah, entitled Everything to Everybody. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Friendly reminder, all characters will be addressed by their names as they're introduced in the episode. Delilah is awakened early in the morning by a text from somebody by the name of Leah Davis. And by the look on her face, she doesn't seem too pleased. It's a busy morning for Delilah. She's getting her daughter ready, her son, and her nephew. Her daughter's name is Maya, her son's name is Marcus, and her nephew, by the context we learned, name is Dion. Marcus is frustrated, and she can see the frustration on his face and saying, hey, it's been 5 months. It's been a very long 5 months. Just stay patient. I know it's been rough. And Marcus emphasizes it's been 6 months and a few days. As they continue on with their morning, Delilah gets a call from her assistant, letting her know the statuses of pending and current cases. She reminds her that do not take any new cases and cancel any appointments. The assistant verifies that you do have a 2 p.m. with someone named Demetria Barnes. She says, well, go ahead and cancel that. Well, you know what? Don't cancel that. She set aside that time for 2 p.m. and I really don't want her to cancel. So let's just keep that one. Later on, I'm having dinner with Tamara so we can catch up. And in the meantime, no new cases. I'm too busy. Dion gets permission to FaceTime his dad as she drops everybody off for school. And one of the first stops is for Marcus. And she reminds him no playing basketball at the park after dark. Remember that. Dion continues to talk to his dad. He's so excited about seeing him and his mom, and also lets him know that, Dad, I drew you and Mom a beautiful picture and I can't wait for you to see it. His father says, I'm so excited and I cannot wait to see the photo. As Dion talks to his dad, Delilah makes a pit stop and says, you know what, let me talk to that brother of mine. She gets on the phone with her brother to FaceTime, and she says, so I'm bringing him by on Sunday to the VA. Will Christine have everything ready when I bring Dion to come see you guys? And he says, yeah, she has everything prepped. Everything should be fine. But Delilah says, are you sure about that this time? And he stresses, yes, she said that she'll have everything set up, so we'll be good to go. Delilah continues and asks, do you know who I got a call from? Leah Davis. She calls once a year. It's probably for some alumni fund. And the brother says, hey, stay away from Leah because she's all types of crazy. Delilah gets more updates about her pending cases. And she also says, by the way, Leah Davis is in your office. And Delilah has this look on her face like, wait, what? You let her in my office? And the assistant was just like, yeah, she said she knows Nate and that she used to live with you. So, I felt comfortable to let her go in your office and wait. And Delilah is really trying to keep her cool. And she's looking at her like, girl, I told you no new appointments and this person comes in. It's like, whatever. Okay. So she goes into her office and she sees Leah, but it's not a happy greeting. It's kind of this tone of like, let me say what I need to say to get this person out of my office. Delilah says, well, I hope it's not about that alumni fund because this is a bad year. Plus, I got a Zoom meeting that's coming up in like 3 minutes. And Leah's just like, I'm overwhelmed and I got into some trouble at work and I need your help. She just disregards what Delilah says. Delilah just says, okay, you know what? Just start from the beginning. Leah explains that she was working as an assistant to the CEO of Osborne Tactical, and they make equipment for the military. And they fired me. And Delilah's just like, okay, so this case is basically a wrongful termination case, right? And Leah says, well, yeah, okay, so there's this guy, Shea. He's this software engineer who got fired because he wanted to sit down with Fred, Osborne, he's the CEO. And there was this major problem with this radio and he designed it. And Delilah's just like, okay, I got to be honest with you. I'm not taking this case. But Leah stresses that you all I've got. And also, they're watching me. I mean, I've been evicted. I'm losing my vehicle, just everything. And I know for a fact, I can feel it. I know that they're watching me. And Delilah says, look, I'll let you know the answer tomorrow concerning the case. And I'll even submit the documentation for the landlord so they can't evict you today. And Leah's just like, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't pay you now. And Delilah's just like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And then she leaves. Delilah tells her assistant, call Mace to look into this Gary Shea guy and find out why he was fired from Osborne Tactical, and also look into Leah Davis as well, because I'm not taking this case. Later on in the day, Delilah speaks with her ex-husband concerning her daughter's concert that Friday, and he's saying that he has to miss it because he has this meeting with this editor. And she tells him, if you can't go to her concert, you need to tell her why. But I also need to know why you haven't paid your child support. And he stresses, I'll do what I can. I'll try. And Delilah's like, are you serious? It's only $200. And he says, well, if I have dinner with this editor, then maybe I can afford to pay you. Delilah meets with Tamara for dinner, and Tamara's just like, I know you're not taking that case. And she's like, look, I said I wasn't taking the case. And Tamara's like, no, I can see it in your face. You are about to take that case. But look, it's going to be a waste of your time, right? Because who's to say, and we both know, that girl getting fired from her job, Miss Leah, had to do anything with injustice. Leah Davis is the type of person to call you because they have a flat tire and the spare tire is flat, okay? She is a magnet for trouble. She has the audacity to call you like she's some Erin Brockovich when she knows she's gone too many days showing up for work with vodka on her breath and walking funny. This Osborne company, what do they make anyway? And Delilah explains that they make military radios. She says, anyway, moving on, how is Casey? And Tamara explains that we're fine. We're going on a trip next month. And the department mayor finally gets a trip. And this is our first public appearance together. So, anywho, give me Leah's number. And don't say you don't have it because you said that she texted her. Promise me you won't take this case. I know you have her number. Give it to me because you said she texted you. That girl stole your boots in college. Remember that? And she had the nerve to say that she didn't when the box had your name written on the side. And Delilah says, look, I promise I won't take the case. There's a very eager and curious visitor that's in the lobby, and she asks, what is back there? I see that it's an office and then there's a conference room. But what is this other room? And the assistant explains that there's a restroom and also the room in the back is for Dr. Baptiste. She's a therapist. And the visitor wants to know, is Miss Connolly always late? Where is she? And the assistant says, why don't you ask her? The assistant hands Delilah the answer documentation, and the person that's there for the appointment takes a quick peek at the papers as well. Delilah apologizes for her tardiness and says, why don't we just go take a walk and get some fresh air? You must be Miss Barnes. And she says, oh, Demetria Magic Barnes, that is. Georgetown University Law Center. It's an honor to meet you. Demetria wonders, what advice would you give to a young lawyer? And Delilah says, well, don't have kids. I'm joking. No, really. If you're going to be about the money, do it for the money. If you're about the people, do it for the people. But for me, it's always been and only been for the people. Demetria says, I know. You're why I went to law school. 6 years ago, I double majored at Howard, in Spanish and African American studies. And I was impressed by just you and who you are. She then coos Delilah by speaking some Espanol. Delilah is impressed, and then Demetria keeps going by saying, I was thinking about teaching Spanish, and then I saw you on TV suing the city on behalf of some girl. I can't remember the name. Delilah's like, Jane Doe. She's like, yeah. That's why I can't remember her name, because anonymous name. But she was wrongfully committed into a mental hospital. And Delilah says, they didn't think a young black woman could own a BMW. She's like, yeah, I was so impressed that it made me want to study law. And Delilah says, that That's interesting that you know all that and you were inspired, or you just looked that up online. And she kind of pauses, Demetria, and says, well, hire me. I'm available. And Delilah's just like, I don't have enough money to support a new associate. And like you said in Espanol, I do run a very small operation, so I'm sorry. And Demetria's like, there's one thing you should know, though. That answer that your assistant gave you is an old template. The state passed a bill about a week ago. It's in the Civil Code section 1951.9. Long story short, they will hand that back to you if you file it. That information was free. They head back to the office, and Delilah informs the assistant she knew about your case, and I don't think she knew it was about you. Also, there's a new template online. Check that out. As Demetria gets on the bus, she gives a little wave to the assistant like, May. Maya vents to her friend about the struggles of playing with the violin she currently has, about how the strings are so loose it's like she's playing the banjo, and she can't play that on her Friday's recital or play it for the endeavor for the state. I need a new violin, but I can't afford it. Her friend suggests that maybe my Uncle Ted can hook you up. Maybe he might give you a friends and family discount. I don't know. It's worth a shot. Delilah calls Mace for an update and says, I'm pulling up to Leah's house now. What you got for me? Mace says, well, from the information that I found, Gary was a loved employee at Osborne who chose an early retirement and left with a pretty hefty gold parachute. Delilah says, so he wasn't fired like Leah said? Mace says, well, not according to their HR. So I did a little background check and on Leah. They said to just let it go and just everything was legitimate. It was for lateness and insubordination. There was also a domestic dispute between Fred and her about a month ago. The neighbor reports that she thinks it has something to do with her messing around with Fred, and the wife had a problem with it. Delilah talks with Leah, and she walks into the apartment to see that it's a complete mess. And says, look, as I thought, I'm not going to be able to take this case. I'm way too busy. Here's the answer to contest the eviction, and there's also a list of lawyers in there also that you can speak with. It's all I can do. And Leah says, it's okay. Osborne, they called and said that if I sign this, little document and give them my phone and my laptop, they'll pay me out. Delilah's just like, why would they need your laptop? And Leah says, who cares? They are going to give me a year's salary, and all I got to do is just sign this form. Here's the form they gave me. Delilah says they want the passwords of his social media accounts and authorized to audit? You can't sign this. And Leah says, girl, I can open new accounts. They even told me not to bother you. Delilah is just like, how do they know that you came to see me? And Leah's just like, I'm trying to tell you, girl, they are watching me. Delilah wants to see any emails that she saved from Fred. And she says, are you sure these are all of the same emails? She's like, yeah. Delilah's just like, look, was there ever anything personal, any romantically shared moments with Fred? Leah's just like, look, I just got fired and showed up a little drunk to his home. He's 55 and white, girl. He ain't putting it down like that. Delilah says, so frequency hopping radios. I see this in the email. What's that? And Leah explains that those radios changed paths to prevent hacking, and Gary thought that they were dangerous. Delilah says, well, look, if I paid your rent this month, will you hold off on signing that document? And Leah says, no, because they want it by the end of the day. And Delilah's like, look, listen to me. Trust me, they will wait till tomorrow. Just trust me. Can I have Gary's number? Maya goes to a violin shop to look at her options, and the seller is saying, come on, try it. Florence told me you know how to play. Maya tries it out, and the new violin is flawless. Unfortunately, they need 100% of the purchase because it's not for rent. It belongs to this prestigious violinist. Maya tells her mom that the violin is a crazy $10,000. And Delilah is just not having it. Maya is just so frustrated, she asks to be excused. Delilah just says, yes, just take your plate. Delilah even leaves a message again for Mr. Shea, asking him to please call her back. Marcus then tries to lighten the mood after dinner when he sees his mom is just frustrated and tired, and it makes her smile. Dion witnesses this moment, sees them hugging and sharing that moment as mother and son, and he leaves the table feeling left out. Delilah later on that night checks on Dion, and he wants to know if his mom and dad can just stay there with her family. But Delilah assures that his mommy is getting something ready and very special at their own home, and everything will be set up just for him, and everything will be okay. Delilah then goes to Gary Shea's home, and she's greeted by a woman who asks her, "Are you the nanny candidate?" And Delilah says, "No, I'm Delilah." Then we see Gary comes to the front door, and the woman says, "It's the lawyer who keeps calling." Gary says, "I'm sorry, but I can't talk to you." Delilah says, "Mr. Shea, I just wanted to know what your thoughts were. If that was just so dangerous about the radio." And Gary is just like, "I can't talk right now." Delilah says, if you thought your design was dangerous for soldiers in the field, you can't just take the money. And Cindy cuts her off and says, "He didn't take the money." But Gary cuts her off and says, "Please go inside." Gary gets close to get personal to tell Delilah, "Look, my wife had 3 miscarriages. We finally got pregnant with a surrogate. The new baby's coming tomorrow. I got family coming. I can't talk about it. They're watching me. Please, go away." After leaving Gary's home, Delilah leaves a voicemail message for Leah saying, "Don't sign that paperwork. Please call me." And as she's driving off, she sees that someone is watching her. Tamara gets the alert that Wynn Jr. wants to speak with her in his office immediately. Wynn says that Osborne Tactical is considering parting ways with Rudy Miller, and I told Fred Osborne to expect a call from you. Fred said that they're about to face some challenges, that Rudy isn't aggressive enough to deal with this case. But, whoever tackles this case, I'm sure, once they make it go away, they'll make partner in such a way that my father can't possibly question it. We can see a little bit of uncertainty in Tamara's face, but she says, "I'll give Fred Osborne a call." Maya is performing at her concert, and her family cheers her on from the audience. Maya's dad arrives late, and you can see the look in Tamara's face that she's just so disgusted with his ways. Delilah whispers to Tamara, "You know what? That violin sounds great to me. I don't know why she's complaining about it or needs a new one." And Tamara's like, "Yeah, it sounds excellent." After the concert, Tamara and Dee look on as her ex-husband flirts with another woman. He updates that he had to reschedule with the editor. And Delilah says, "Well, why were you late?" He doesn't have an answer, but as he's about to say something, they get cut off by Maya, excited to see her dad, and she thanks him for the new violin. Tamara takes a moment to take Maya away to the side so Delilah and her husband can talk. Delilah says, "How did you pay for that violin? It's $10,000. And her ex-husband says that, "I spoke with the guy at the shop and he agreed to have, $5,000 down now and the other $5,000 another time, and I'll take care of the rest." T and Delilah take a minute to talk, and Delilah's just like, "Girl, what? $5,000? But he can't pay $200 in child support?" T says, "Look, I'm sorry, but your ex-husband has the heart of a common criminal. I mean, a psychopath." "I gotta tell you, Delilah, I speak with Fred Osborne." Delilah's just like, "You're speaking with Fred Osborne? Please tell me this is a coincidence." Tamara says, "Look, we've gone 20 years without going against each other. Leah is gonna drain you, and you know it. Let it go. Don't take this case. Just start taking cases and make some real money, girl." Later that night, Delilah gets a call from Gary Shea wanting to talk, but not now. They need to meet on Sunday at a park in private. Gary says, "I'm not a bad person. I just have a family. And Delilah says, I'll see you then. Delilah gives Mace a call and she says, hey, I'm dropping off Dion to his mom today. And he's also going to see his dad at VA. So I need to be circumspect about everything that I'm talking about. Mace is like, go ahead, shoot. Delilah says, I went to that address that belonged to Gary Shea. You know, the address I texted you last night. There's this Land Rover with a guy in it that appears to be very interested in observing what Gary does. May says, yeah, I'll check it out as soon as I get done here and get the plates as soon as I can. Dion wants to know, are you going to come back and visit me when I go home? She's like, yeah, I mean, of course I am. One thing about Auntie is that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Dion goes in and sees his dad, and we see that he's a vet and he's in a wheelchair. He's happy to see his dad, but unfortunately, his mom isn't there yet. Dee is upset and Nate turns away, so Dion won't see her frustration. While Dion plays, Delilah wants to know, so have you ever seen a radio like this? It's like, well, I mean, everyone did, but I haven't heard of anything being wrong with it or dangerous. Delilah says, why is Christine so late? Nate says she's not coming. She says she's not ready. Delilah can't accept that. She's like, she wasn't ready 2 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and now it's been 6 months. You shipped out way before that. You know what? I'm calling her. He's like, no, don't. She begged me not to go in for that second tour. And I did, and I came back like this. Delilah's just like, when is she going to be ready to be a mother? And Nate tries to defend her by saying that she didn't sign up for this life. And Delilah's just like, nobody signs up for anything. But she's your wife. That's her son. When is she going to step up and take responsibility? Their conversation is cut short because Delilah gets a call. It's Mace, and he says, well, I'm checking out at that address. There's no Land Rover, but there's definitely an ambulance. Gary Shea, he's dead. And I hear they're ruling it as a side. And that is the end of the episode. Hey everybody, it's time for my review. So for episode 1, I thought we got off to a very good start. There was some annoying hiccups along the episode, constantly saying, well, hello, Delilah. Hello, Tamara. I think the writing could have been changed just a little bit and tweaked and allowed the audience to learn the names as we went along through repetition, right? But other than that, I think the episode was really, really good. It's a great start for episode 1. I can kind of tell they're following the same mystery fluidities of Greenleaf because this is from the creators of Greenleaf. So on to some of my predictions and observations of this episode. Now, Mace is being watched. I think he's being watched because in the cafe scene, discreetly, there's a woman behind him that smiles at him. And to the untrained eye, you're thinking, oh, that's not a bad deal. It's just a girl checking him out, right? Eating at the cafe. But when it comes to mystery series like this, everyone you see is a suspect of something, right? So let's not sweep that under the rug. So I really think that the young lady he saw in the cafe might have been watching him as well. Also, the assistant is kind of suspect to me. Her behavior is kind of off. It wouldn't shock me if she is an on-site mole. If she is pretending to be someone who is assisting Delilah, but keeping a close eye on her from other firms. Realistically, this is something that's happened in real life. There have been spies in certain high-scale law firms. So something like that happening in this series wouldn't be shocking to me at all. Did you notice how Maya's friend said her uncle could help her at the shop or help her get a discount? So is it okay and safe to guess that she's adopted? I guess. It was just weird. I don't know if she's just saying uncle because he's nice, but, in Black culture, we could say, my uncle, and that's not your real uncle. That's just somebody that's real cool in the family. So does this apply? Let me know if you noticed that. I was just like, wait, that's an uncle? What happened? Yeah. It's very obvious that Marcus and Maya are very frustrated with Mr. Dion being there. I mean, they are related, but kids, they want the parents to themselves, which is understandable. And they're having some difficulty sharing their mommy because not only did the parents just get a divorce, but probably more than ever, they just want to spend the most time with mom and dad with no one else included. So I can see the strain developing from that. It's very evident that Gary Shea did not pass away like they're saying that he did, because clearly there's something fishy and they're hiding something. So let's just see what's going on in the next episode. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I don't want to go in and dissect something too much and look too deep into something too soon. So stay tuned for episode 2 entitled Told You So. That's coming up next. Make sure you put your comments down below and let me know what you're thinking. Do you like the series so far? Do you think it's trash? Or are you excited to hear about more details throughout the season? Let me know. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.